What's up, everybody? Josh here at Modern Frontiersman. Welcome to another Patriot Hangout Live. If you're watching on Instagram, I've never done this before, and I might have just messed it up. And if it's not showing, y'all let me know. If it is, if you're watching from Instagram, comment and let me know you're seeing this live right now. Today we got a guest as one of it was the very first other content creator that I linked up with on YouTube, and it was on my other channel, Fortner's Frontier Leather, my leatherworking page. I've had him on the podcast before, so we've already done an introduction. So everybody, welcome to the stage, Scott from Wandering the Wilderness.
How's it going, Josh? Good to see you again, man. I love the sound effect.
Yeah, I do too, man. This sound card is the bomb.
That's cool. Hey, this website's awesome.
It is. It does some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
What have you been up to, man? You been doing all right?
Oh yeah. I've actually been so busy I hadn't really been putting too much out because I've been busy doing so many other things that you can't film everything you're doing and post it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I wouldn't have time to do anything.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, I noticed that I haven't seen a whole lot from you a whole lot lately. But I didn't know if you hadn't been posting stuff or if I just haven't been seeing it because I've been so busy with my own stuff too. I haven't really been watching very many other people's channels lately. I've been scrambling to kind of catch back up with people.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I had a good hunting video where I got a nice mature buck that I posted not too long ago. I took one of my neighbors hunting and harvested 2 does with him. Didn't record or film or post anything about that. I've been doing a lot of blacksmithing, and actually I don't have any blacksmithing on my video or on my channel, but I've been blacksmithing for years. I rebuilt a new forge, and then last couple of days I've been cleaning out and reorganizing my shop, and wife's been really helping me with that, declutter, and I'm working on building a man cave studio YouTube area for myself to do any crafts or anything like that in my own little man cave, we'll say. So been working on that also last couple of days.
Heck yeah. Lisa Rios, is this from your channel, Scott?
That is my mom.
Oh, awesome. That is awesome.
Yep.
Welcome, Scott's mom.
Yep.
Cool,
right.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I've never had somebody link their channel like this before, so I'm seeing the little link next to some people, and I guess that's people from your subscribers, I guess.
Yeah. And I think you got Ben or something like that just popped up too.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, this is interesting. Never done it like this before.
Well, like you said, I was the first person you got in contact with through this YouTube, and this is the first live stream I've ever done. So, and you were the first podcast I ever done. So,
oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah. So you're my first on a lot of things here.
Yeah, and you were the first person I like. Actually, yeah, you've been one of the very few people that I've ever sent leatherwork to review, like on their channel too. So
yeah, and you do great work, man. I highly recommend it. If any of you guys listen out there, hit Josh up for some leather work. He is very skilled.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I don't know if you're scheduled to. If you're subscribed. Sorry, Fatty Westside threw me off there for a second. Well, welcome, Fatty. What was I even talking about? Thanks, bro. Thanks a lot for that. But I don't know. Oh, it's DJ. I don't know if you're subscribed to DJ, the Metalhead Mercenary.
No.
I've had him here before. He just let a video out today. He ordered some axe sheaths from me like about this time last year, and I just got him to him last week because I've been so far behind and just so much going on. I felt so bad, but he was super happy with them, and he just did a video today showing them off, and I could tell he was genuinely stoked, so it made me genuinely stoked.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Like, and when somebody gets something handmade and handcrafted, you're going to get a whole lot better product than if you went and bought something from the store. Somebody that actually cares about their work compared to a machine cranking stuff out.
Right, right. Fatty just texted me and said I'm getting some feedback, some reverb. Is it any better now, Fatty? I turned my mic down. Um, Speaking of, yeah, your blacksmith and the leatherwork, the one of the knives, the knife that you made,
Hmm.
what was it, like a while back for me to post on the website?
Yeah.
Somebody finally bought it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, like just
Awesome.
like a couple weeks ago. I hadn't told you yet, but I mean, I actually just realized it because something was wrong with my Shopify account. But somebody bought that French trade knife that you made, so that's
Oh,
cool.
that is awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's real cool. Thanks for sharing.
yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I've been doing a lot more of recently. I typically just make a lot of stuff as gifts more than anything, just because I like doing it. But yeah, I'm working on a variety of different things. I just made my wife a pretty awesome cleaver to use in the kitchen. And then I got a bushcraft knife I'm making for a friend of mine back in Tennessee, where I'm from.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You sent me a picture of that knife, didn't you?
I think so. Probably the cleaver, I believe, from my wife.
Yeah, the cleaver.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I remember you sending me that. I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully, this feedback isn't too bad. I think I'm picking myself up back through your microphone or something. But
Yeah, I
I
just
barely,
I just got it a second ago.
yeah, I barely hear it, but I do hear it. If I hope it's not unbearable for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it is, oh well.
Yeah, it was my first go around, so
Yeah,
I'm
man. I mean,
actually on the screen, so we're doing good.
yeah, I know, dude. I don't know if you were in here for my first live, that one where I ended up going like 4 hours, but it was an absolute disaster for the first hour. Everything was crashing. I ran out of hot data for my hotspot. Like
Oh
everything
yeah.
was everything was screwing up.
Well, I'm glad you got that out of the way before I jumped on here with you.
Yeah, yeah. I made a fool of myself by myself before I brought anybody else on.
There you go. There you go.
But I
Hopefully
don't care.
everybody was forgiving and you didn't get those trolls making rude comments.
Yeah, yeah. That's one thing I am for the most part. Most of the people that steadily tune into my channel are pretty cool, pretty
Yeah.
chill. Like I don't get a whole lot of dumb stuff, a whole lot of stupid comments or hostile people. Especially not near as bad as Risky does sometimes, man. He gets some crazies over at his channel.
Yeah, well, I've watched some of his videos, and he has quite a bit more subscribers than I do, so I'm sure he's going to get a lot more comments.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I I always joke with him and tell him he's cheating at YouTube because I found him through a comment on my channel, and then next thing you know, he's like surpassing all the rest of us, all the rest of
Yeah,
us homies.
it's just blown up.
It did
Well, and
like,
even your channels, I've been on here forever, it seems like. But my thing is, I've never been like a set schedule, putting a video out. If I'm doing something or I'm teaching something or whatever, or I'm doing something myself, if I have the time or the opportunity, I'll make the video. Sometimes I don't get to regularly post, or I know a lot of my more recent videos tend to be a lot of like product reviews. Um, and that's just because I'm busy doing other things. I can't record or post every single thing I'm doing. Um,
yeah, absolutely.
some people got to search for like content or schedule things to make videos about. But I feel like I probably have the opposite problem in that I'm doing so many different things that I don't have time to record it all and edit and post.
Yeah, absolutely. I know a lot of times, like I haven't done any leatherworking videos in a long time, but it's just because I'm too busy actually doing it to record it, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely,
And yeah, like out doing stuff in the yard, and there's a lot of things I want to put on YouTube. But it's like, man, I ain't got time for this. I just got to get this done.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
So,
there's a lot of stuff I want to say about something as simple that people don't think about is like splitting and stacking firewood. There's a lot that could be said about that, and people don't know. People don't know that unless you do it, on a regular basis. But when I get to do it, and I'm like, man, my back hurts. I just want to get it done. I don't care about making a video about it.
exactly.
I
Yeah.
just
I
need to
mean,
get a fire going.
yeah, like so I built my new forge that I built. Like so my first forge that I built, and both these are coal forges. I've built everything from like scrap junk. I'm not spent money on anything but like a $12 hair dryer. And like
Yeah.
so my buddy asked me, "Hey, did you do a video on how you made your forge?" And I was like, "No, I just made it and started making stuff." And
Hmm.
same with the other one, I found the materials out in the woods and just made it. And I don't think I have hardly any blacksmithing videos at all. And I think I've been doing it, I don't know, 8 years or so.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've made several like brake drum forges and use the hair dryer and stuff like that. And I wish
Yeah.
I had done a video on my wood shave horse that I built years ago. I built that thing like 10 years ago, and it's still it's still rocking. And I look back at it sometimes like, man, I need to do another video and show people how to build one of these, but then I never do it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, I didn't even have a plan to build a new forge. I was walking out in the woods, just I don't know, getting away from doing whatever else and taking a moment, and I found a an intake and a throttle body still attached to it out in the woods from a Ford Ranger. And I thought, well, this would be really good to force air in the bottom of a forge. And then I kept walking around and I ended up finding an old steel water tank down by an old burned out homestead. And so I dragged everything home and decided to start building a new forge.
Heck
So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, like I said, the only thing I had to buy was a hairdryer.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. Hey, Fatty, thanks to everybody. Yeah. Or thanks, Fatty, for saying that. Everybody, if you're here in the comments, there's 15 of y'all, and most of y'all ain't saying nothing. You're being creepers. Sound off and let us know who's in here. Sound off like you got a pair, right?
Right? I've heard that before.
By the way, everybody, Fatty is a moderator. You start acting stupid, and he'll kick you.
I might have to. Does he got a channel?
He does, yes. Fatty is the bomb. Yeah. Everybody, like here, Fatty Westside. Everybody, yeah, make sure to subscribe to his channel too. He was another one of those that's on here that I subscribed to. He was not in the military, but he was getting into the Minuteman stuff and really learning tactics and things like that. And I dug it. Like I was like, hey, this dude's like somebody that's really trying to learn this stuff that doesn't have any background in it. And I thought that was cool. So
Yeah,
that,
that's real cool.
that's how I run across him. I like how you're making. He says I'm making him blush.
Oh,
Ron Stryker. All right.
there we go. Now
Yeah.
I'm
Shut up.
not a
Huh?
Marine, so we say "huh."
Yeah. Yeah. Most of the veterans on here are Army, but I think most veterans are Army. Period.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot more Army, I think, but
Oh yeah, totally. What I think Marine Corps is like a quarter or like a third of the size of the Army, I believe. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't run into other Marines very much. Uh,
I've run into a lot of them, but they're older. Vietnam era.
yeah.
So
Steven says slight echo on your end. Yeah, I know. There's really nothing I can do about it. We're just gonna have to roll with it. Um, but yeah, for any of my subscribers here that don't know and aren't already subscribed to Scott, y'all go make sure to subscribe to his channel, and vice versa. If you're subscribed to Scott, head over and subscribe to mine. You see a lot of tactical content and stuff on mine right now, but that's not all it's about. It's about it's about being self-reliant in general. That's from tactics, from defense, as well as the homesteading and wilderness survival stuff that Scott talks about more on his channel. Is a lot more of the wilderness survival, wouldn't you say?
yeah, that's kind of where I started anyway. A lot of mine was when I came back from Iraq. I needed a good, healthy outlet and didn't really like being around people as much, and so I
Yeah.
started hiking a lot. And then from hiking, I was like, oh, I could, I need to learn more. But then I was watching Les Stroud on Survivor Man, and I remember I was telling my wife, I was like, I think I could do this. And she's like, well, go do it. And, military way, you put 60, 70 pounds of crap on your back and just rough it, which is what
Yeah.
I did. And
Yeah.
then I was like, this is ridiculous. Les Stroud's are going out there with pocket knife. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so then I decided to start learning more skills and becoming a better outdoorsman, more than just being, a grunt and just
Yeah.
blowing at your knees.
Yeah. Absolutely. Which, yeah, is kind of the same. Not exactly the same, but kind of the same for me. It's like I got out of the Marine Corps, and like I just kind of wanted to disconnect from modern society because I didn't like it too much anymore.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I think as far as watching something on TV that pushed me was when I first got out. I remember seeing Mountain Men for the first time, and Eustace Conway was
Oh yeah.
he really resonated with me. So I read The Last American Man, read his biography, and I've talked to him on Facebook every once in a while and stuff, and been meaning to go up there to Turtle Island Preserve. But I think he really pushed me into wanting to get off grid and live a more traditional lifestyle.
Yeah. And you don't live too far from me.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Turtle Island is. I've
yeah. I
never
think
been up there, but I go trout fishing in Boone.
right. I think he probably he probably resonated in me with more than anybody on that show. I guess being from the similar, from the same, being an Appalachian man, like
Yeah,
being from the same region. It's like I can feel that. The rest of them I
absolutely.
can't feel it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I
Which
ain't
what
never
was
been
it?
to Montana or Alaska, but I know
Yeah,
that's
and I was gonna say like Tom out in Montana, just because trapping and putting up furs and tanning, I do all that type stuff too. But I would pay real good attention to him, and he's so talented and been
yeah,
doing it so long. He's just somebody I'd like to gain a little bit of wisdom from.
yeah. He was a them two were basically the only ones I really
Yeah,
cared to see very much. He
yeah,
seems he seems like he's legit just a really nice and humble and kind dude too. Tom does.
yeah, yeah. Now I
That's the
got
one. That's the dude. That's the one that wears the cowboy hat, right? Yeah,
yeah,
white beard. Yeah, yeah,
yep, yep, and he's out there with he was a, I think he was a either rode bulls or Broncos something rodeo,
yeah,
and
yeah.
was still out there in his 70s pulling traps.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. He reminds me a
So
lot of my great uncle, but he's from Michigan, and he reminds me so much of him because he trapped for a living and stuff for a long time, and he's in his 70s now and still gets out there and hunting and trapping, hiking up and down the hills. He lives down here now, but
yeah, it'd
Lisa
be
Hanging Rock, North Carolina in the house. Civil War started yet? No, man. By the way, he is not Lisa. That's his wife or girlfriend's account.
yeah,
uh, but no, man. Civil War hadn't started yet. Thank goodness.
yeah, right,
Which that actually leads me into some things I wanted to kind of get your opinion on, and you've probably seen a lot of my opinion. If you disagree with things that I've said, say so. We ain't arguing here. We're just having a conversation. I don't
yeah,
I
for
don't want
sure,
people to get on here and just like agree with something, just to keep from, what I mean. But it's
yeah.
just I want to know your honest opinions on things. Uh, like say the thing that's like what's going on in Israel right now. What's your stance on that? Do you think we should be um, like physically helping defend Israel and actually playing a part in that?
So um, obviously, as everybody or anyone would say, is that we got plenty of things going on to worry about here on our own side of the water. But then I also tend to look at a lot of things on like a biblical perspective, and so the nation that stands with Israel will not fall. And so we had made a commitment that we would be there for them and stand for them, and I know we've been supporting them. So it's a really difficult. Like personally, I would like to be able to go over there and help.
Mm.
So I feel like it would be good, and I feel like we should, um, but Yeah, I think that's probably where I tend to lie on that.
Mm,
I know we're in a little bit of like a rebuilding anyway. We're coming off of like all those years, Iraq, Afghanistan, and all that, and then we just sent tons of money to Ukraine. And that it wouldn't take much for the exact same thing that's going on to Israel for those guys to start attacking over here. So you don't want to wear yourself obviously too thin, but I feel like Israel is one of those countries that we should stand behind.
yeah, I thought that might be what you. I thought you might would say that. Um, yeah, you actually gave the response I was expecting. So
No,
nothing,
yeah,
nothing that threw me off.
yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
So
I don't know that everybody feels that way. I don't
no,
know.
every guest I've had on here, it's kind of been this along the same thinking of stay out of it and mind our own business. Um, which I thought that you might would say that about standing with Israel too. I know a lot of people who are kind of on the fence, about that topic. And an interesting question that's been brought up on my channel, with some of the other content creators too. And you can weigh on this if you want, or not. It doesn't matter if you
Hmm.
want. Um, the question being sort of a more philosophical sort of question is Israel as a nation, as it is today, is it the Israel of the past? Like, is Israel a people, or is it that piece of land as it exists today as a nation?
Yeah, yeah. Well, a lot of what's going on in my opinion, with the whole uh, Hamas and even with ISIS and all that, they're from my experience, and I'm sure you experienced this as well. It's like they want to bring about that religious war,
Yeah,
and they want to, as they labeled us, infidels. They want to wipe out those Jews and Christians because we're the infidel in their religious belief. And so, like I said, there's not a whole lot preventing them from doing what they're doing over to Israel to start coming our way, outside of our firepower and our military that we have, and being a world leader. But look what they did on 9/11. So it's one of those things that, um, just because, like, back to the other question, is just because the land of Israel is, part of that border is on, the temple is split, in my best recollection, and they tend to fight over that back and forth, and they're trying to take control over basically what was the temple biblically, and all this stuff. It's in it's in the Bible, so it's one of those things that it's part of that end time prophecy stuff, and it seems to be going on right now.
right. Yeah. See, here's a Fatty. I didn't mean to throw you out there like that, Fatty. I hope you don't.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
you
fine.
don't mind because you commented it. So, look, this is like this is what I was saying. That the thing that we've been, that people have been talking about Israel, the nation state, not the same as Israel in the Bible. I'll leave that for everybody, to their own, to their own opinions on that.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
uh, yes, Ron Stryker, I like that. Leave it to reiterate what Risky said. I hope both teams have fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Risky said that in a short a while back, or one of his Risky reports, which get kind
yeah,
of risky.
yeah, yeah. And obviously our first priority is protect ourselves, right, and look after
Absolutely.
our own nation, our borders, all those types of things that we need to be looking after for our own people and our own nation. I just tend to, I guess, even though it's not we'll say the same Israel, it's the same heritage, the same bloodline, and same landmass that was the historical land of Israel, the promised land after the 40 years of wandering in the wilderness, which is actually where I chose my name from. So that's kind of the thought in that process. I feel like, even though, you know, look at us, we're not the same Christian nation or whatever that we were founded on. We've come pretty far from that, but we're still tend to hold true to some of those same founding values that were set up by our founding fathers that are a lot of them based on biblical truth.
Right.
And that's what a
Well,
lot of us that are watching this kind of thing, or that are a part of this kind of thing, that's what a lot of us are trying to stand for, like our Second Amendment rights. And these are, most of our amendments are our God-given rights that everyone has, that is found, and based off of what we see in the Bible that are God-given. They're
mm,
for every man, and if we don't fight for them, we'll lose them.
right. Yeah, and I think it's safe to say nobody that subscribed to my channel doesn't believe in the principles that America was founded on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Unless they're just really weird and just like to watch things that they don't agree with. I don't know. There may be some super liberal people on my channel. They're like, man, I love disagreeing with people.
yeah. Maybe they're researching.
Yeah, yeah. Stop drinking Coke, Josh. Hey, Fatty, you stop drinking Coke too. You were drinking Coke when you were on here with me last time. Shut up.
I got decaf coffee.
Lisa said, Christy, I think you mean Krisky. Krisky called all this on point. Yeah, he does seem to have a knack for that. I don't know what kind of secret connections he has, but he has he does seem to have ability to kind of call things before they happen. I mean, well, a lot of us could probably do that, staying more up to date on the news and stuff like he does. I just don't because
Yeah, I'm right there
uh,
with you.
yeah, I mean, I look at the big picture, but I don't really look too much into all the little details. I know where I stand, like on things, and I kind of look at the big picture and like, okay, does this go with where I stand or not? And that's about as far as I dig, dig into
Yeah,
it unless
yeah.
it's something really, really crazy.
Well, and I don't know if you're like anything like me, but like after my time in Iraq and dealing with all that kind of stuff, when I came back, I didn't want to see any news about it. And obviously, people love watching live combat, and so for the whole time we still got the Iraq war going on, the Afghanistan war. It's on the news every single day, and I just couldn't watch it. And so I tend to have disconnected quite a bit from some of that. I'll watch and see what's going on globally in the world view, and try to keep my ears and eyes open, and stay prepared. But it's I can't just sit and dwell on it. It would drive me crazy. I'd curl up in a hole.
Yeah, I think I had talked to you about before. It's like that was a thing when I first got out. Is I was really angry for a long time because I felt like things were not what I thought they were exactly. Like
Hmm.
things were not exactly as they were reported. Iraq was not exactly as it was reported from my perception, at least where I was.
Yeah,
And I was really angry and frustrated. And yeah, I had to disconnect for a while because I was pretty pissed off and
yeah.
I was pretty irritable. And I'm going to have a guest on before too long, probably in about a couple months or so because he's busy. But I don't know if you're subscribed to him, but Randall at Grunt Proof.
Mm-mm.
Um,
No.
I'm going to have him on. I think he kind of has the same. I think he kind of had the same, from what I gather. He was in Ramadi too at
Okay.
the same time I was, but I think he kind of gathered the same, you know, sentiment that I did. So it should be a pretty interesting and risky conversation when he gets
Yeah.
on here too. We might get kicked with him on here talking to.
Yeah. Yeah. I've not had any of those problems. That's videos blocked, but that's about it. Demonetized, um, but in the coming year, this new year, I do plan on integrating a lot more shooting. I built a range at my house, 10, 30, and 50 yard. I'm going to start doing a lot of shooting type videos. I got some really cool products coming down the line. And then I want to start integrating some of that, some tactical, some patrol, some just being more preparedness type stuff. I've done everything on my channel has been focused on being an outdoorsman, but a lot of those skills intertwine with preparedness. You know,
Yeah,
like you had said in all of Appalachia, it wasn't being prepared; that was just living. You just had to be ready for the next season. And so a lot of those types of things is how I was raised. I'm sure how you was raised, and when it comes to garden or animals or things like that. And then just trying to integrate some of that military training that I've had and bring that into the channel as well. So
Yeah.
that's what I got planned for the coming year.
Heck yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
you've already been on board for that for a while. That's kind of outside of your leather work and your self reliance and stuff. You've been doing a lot more of the tactical preparedness type stuff.
Yeah. It's kind of, during COVID is when I really started. I think from the time I got out of the Marine Corps, after seeing the way Iraq was, thinking in with my thought process of people are people, and
Hmm.
we could get screwed up just as bad as Iraq, because
Yep.
people tend to react the same ways to things, to bad situations. Uh, I really, especially during, I'd say I was a prepper, from that point. But when COVID happened, it's like I really amped it up, and that's when I started this channel. Separated this from Fortner's Frontier Leather.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of got on the tactical train, and I didn't even 100% mean to.
Yeah.
but
Oh yeah.
but it is all related, and some people are confused sometimes on my channel, like Modern Frontiersman. What does that have to do with tactical stuff? Well, because my channel is all about self-reliance in general. Being and the frontiersmen, long hunters of the past, they had to deal with Indian war parties.
Absolutely.
So I
Absolutely.
mean, it is all related. It is all tied
Well,
together.
well, and then you look at the what was the Minuteman, right? So it was
Yeah.
started as the group of men in their town that got together and started defending their families and their community, and they were protected them from at that time Europe trying to take us back for the king, but that's where the modern Minuteman or the traditional Minuteman came from.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
and the modern Minuteman shouldn't be much different.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I was talking to my son there.
Nope, that's cool. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I never really understood why people were confused about
Yeah,
that on my channel.
yeah. I don't. Maybe they don't know history that well.
Yeah, so I think complete ignorance of history, I
Yeah, yeah.
guess. But
So
uh, well, so okay, so I asked you about Israel. So, what's your thoughts on involvement in Ukraine?
yeah. I feel like that one we helped them some. I feel like we might have helped them a lot. Um, I feel bad personally for what is going on in Ukraine, but I don't necessarily feel like that's our issue at the moment. I hate to see other people do that type of stuff to other people. Um, but they have military. They're trying to defend themselves, and we're not really particularly connected to it. And I think we've offered them tons of support. So and that's kind of where I'm at on that.
Yeah, absolutely. We're on the same page 100% on that then.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean,
Yeah,
I hate seeing that, and the soldier in me from the past wants to be like, heck, grab the gear, let's hit the plane and go. But that's just because of an injustice, or I feel is an injustice. But it's not everybody's responsibility to fix that injustice. They gotta
right.
they gotta work on some of that themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like I said the first video I when the invasion started happening, I wouldn't send I won't send American boys to do what Ukrainian boys ought to do for themselves.
Yeah,
But I'm
exactly.
with you. It's like I was the same way. It's like half part of me would want to go over there and fight the perceived bad guys, but on the other hand, yeah, it's like that's not my responsibility. That's there. It's not America's responsibility to police the whole world like we've been doing for so long. And it seems like,
Exactly.
and like I was talking to Survivor Metal Man about it, it's like the whole world always looks to America. Why are you not doing anything? Well, why are you not doing anything? Why do you
Yeah.
always look to us to fix everybody's problems, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Um, I mean, we're an awesome country. I get it. And we got an awesome military, and I understand that, and we tend to be there for the little guy. We tend to get pick the back, and support the Davids against the Goliaths, but, that's it. We're wearing ourselves too thin, and, and we need to build up and protect our own, country and our own people, as well,
Yeah, absolutely.
in priority.
Right, right. Quahu says he's always he tends to be a devil's advocate sometimes in here. He says we are Goliath.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Fatty. I'm always going to bring Fatty up here because he's one of the homies. When Ukraine started, I felt bad for them, mad that Russia was kicking something off, fighting for the underdog, as it were. But the more things have come out, the more my views on that have changed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we don't always know all the details prior to, because we're not over there. It's not our country.
Yeah, and there's probably like with everything, there's probably so much behind the scenes stuff that's going on with it that we'll never know about.
Oh yeah, exactly. I agree because like I said, you don't always have all the intel.
No, absolutely not. There's not only for OPSEC reasons, but there's secret deals and secret stuff going on that everybody on probably every side might would be pissed off about if they knew about, and
Yeah.
so much stuff.
Well, and all politicians in every country, right? They don't tell
Yeah,
you everything, and most of the times I feel like they're just puppets anyway, doing whatever the person pays them to say or do, and that I don't try to dig too deep in the politics side of things, because that can just open a can for all kinds of people. But it's one of those things that just because they're crying out for help, we don't know all the behind the scenes stuff, where all the money's getting pushed from who, and that the background of the story. They tell us what they want us to hear, so they can get our help.
yeah, absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
100%. It's like kind of like you might have seen it in the military, but you see it in companies too. When it's time to deal with their budget, they're gonna kind of finagle some stuff to
Yeah,
to
exactly.
keep that
Exactly.
budget. It's the same kind of
Mhm.
concept.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, propaganda is part of war. Um, obviously and disgustingly, in my opinion, look what Hitler done. I mean, it was through his control of propaganda that he brainwashed a whole country.
Yeah,
So it's that kind of propaganda is a tool that does get used in combat.
yeah. I was listening to on the when I was talking about a minute ago, saying that I think people are people, and will tend to um, kind of respond in similar ways regardless of where we are. Um, I was listening on the radio. I think it was last night. I was on lunch at work, and somebody um, was talking about Hitler and how he come to take power with propaganda and everything, and that it really wasn't that complicated. It wasn't really that difficult because people are kind of easily manipulated and stuff. And it was talking about how we're not immune from that either. Like we could see ourselves being brainwashed and things like that one day, and that's really true. Like I could
Oh
see a
yeah.
lot of different ways our own politicians could could do the same thing to us.
Well, I was thinking about this exact same thing, but on a similar topic, I guess, earlier today. I was thinking about how many people have got such a negative view on ARs or AKs, but it's more so what they have heard through the news or the media outlets, that they've never personally fired these weapons or held one or
Mm,
used one in any way, or have very limited experience around firearms in general. But for many of us who spent their whole life hunting, shooting, those kinds of hobbies and sports and interests, it's just a totally different perspective. But the other people that want to take control over and to take these kinds of firearms away from the citizens have such a limited view because it's only what comes from the media, and they themselves, in my opinion, have been brainwashed because they don't really lack true knowledge because they've never even held the weapon. They just repeat
Right.
what somebody else says.
Yeah, absolutely. You mean to tell me that the ladies on The View don't know what they're talking about?
Exactly. I'm sure every one of them's got an AK in the closet.
Yeah, I was watching. I used to watch it on Sundays because I or not on not Sundays on every morning. I'd turn it on just to see what kind of craziness they were saying while I was cooking breakfast. And man, I remember one day they were talking about what's her name, Sonny Hostin. She was talking
Hmm.
about she was what'd she say? Why would you ever need an AR-15 to hunt deer? Wouldn't that just blow them apart? Wouldn't it be better to use a shotgun where you have precise aiming?
Oh
Like
man.
this lady's got everything all screwed.
Yeah.
She has
Yeah.
no idea what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Like she
I
thinks
would
a
agree.
shotgun is a rifle and thinks an AR is a machine gun.
Yeah. Yeah. There's such a limited view. Now, obviously, I don't agree with all of the garbage that people have used these weapons for, whether it be a handgun, a shotgun, or an AR. Especially these mass shootings, the school shootings, all this garbage is just ridiculous and
Yeah.
really something we got to do something about within our country. But I think with our Second Amendment rights, we as citizens have the rights to have our firearms as Americans, and with that is these firearms that are very useful hunting tools, self-defense tools, and they're reliable and efficient to do the things that we can do. And in the event that we have to defend ourselves, as a modern Minuteman, we have the tools to do that. That's the whole point of the Second Amendment in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should be able to have tanks. We should be able
Well,
to
and
have more.
when the Second Amendment was made, the modern man was able to have, or the man was able to have whatever the military had.
Yeah, yeah. People had cannons. Like,
Yeah, I mean
yeah,
nowadays, obviously, that's not going to happen.
yeah. I mean,
Hmm.
people still do have cannons, but yeah, you get what
Yeah.
I'm
Oh yeah. Yeah. I know a guy.
saying. Yeah, we can have tanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
They have to be
Can
disarmed though.
yeah, yes.
Yeah,
I
they
don't
got to be.
know. I've never tried to buy one.
Yeah, I've seen it. They have to be disarmed and they have to have rubber tracks.
Oh, is that
So they
is that
don't do any damage to any asphalt or anything. That's the last thing I heard on them.
what Ron Striker? Yeah, especially if there was a mud wrestling match between Hoover and AOC. Yeah, I'm down. Uh, um, so what do you think? What do you think is the what do you think is the biggest threat to Americans' liberty right now?
Other Americans. I
Yeah.
mean, really, we're in a position where it seems like a lot of Americans are against a lot of other Americans, and that separation, that divide is, we're not. It doesn't seem like or feel like we're one nation anymore, um, which is kind of sad and scary, really. So when you have the government trying to take away these types of weapons, trying to take away or control, um, the suppressors and all the other stuff that they've been recently trying to pass. And our Supreme Court, thankfully, for what I've seen, has been kind of standing up and stopping some of that. But really, it's people just kind of stop caring. And as we go generationally further down the line, if people forget where we came from and what it took to get where we are, and so that kind of lack of knowledge and lack of appreciation or value in our history, I think, is what's our downfall.
Yeah.
Complacency too. Once we become so complacent, like one of the viewers said, the Goliath, right? We're the Goliath because if you get to the point where you feel or think that you are the supreme superpower and nobody can touch you, That's when little David hits you with the stone, you know. And so I feel like those are things that we have to be aware of. Just because we're America does not mean we're untouchable,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, that's like I was talking to Black Dissident last week. I agree. With what you said about other Americans. Like I was talking with him, about the lack of social cohesion that we see nowadays. There's too many different types of mindsets, too many different cultural things, too many different things that are clashing, and we are way divided for sure. And yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
think that's a big problem.
yeah,
The
absolutely. It's a
destruction of the nuclear family, Fatty says. Yeah, man,
oh yeah,
that's a big problem.
oh yeah, absolutely. I think I watched a documentary. It was, I think it's called the Agenda. Um, I found it very intriguing. And I watched it years ago, but that was kind of one of the main things, is to destroy the nuclear family and what it means to be a family. But you look how much change America has gone through in less than, we'll say less than 50 years, 30 years, and how much change as what it meant to be an American and our values and what we meant, stood for as a country, to where now it's just like, what really matters anymore? What are our values?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's been a lot of what I'm finding lately, like looking at like multiculturalism and all those things. Like, yeah, that is a big problem. We have no It seems like nowadays there isn't that common value, or those common values that everybody or majority agrees upon. There's so many different ones.
Yeah,
um
and
but oh, go ahead.
oh no, and I was gonna say, you see, and again, going back to Bible, like we was talking about earlier, like King Solomon, part of his downfall, who when he married so many different women from so many different countries, he allowed them to build temples from their religious beliefs, and then the nation eventually has its downfall. And similarly, in America, which I'm glad we're a melting pot. I'm
Yeah.
glad that we have such a diverse culture. I'm not racist in any way, shape, or form. I love all peoples, and love different experiences and all that. But we're still America. We still have our own identity, culture, and customs and beliefs within our country. And the more and more that we just try to shift who we are to please everybody else, then we no longer have an identity.
Right.
And it messes with our whole foundation, as you see regularly people complaining about rules, and try and take away Second Amendment rights and things like that. And that's where I think a lot of that comes from.
Right. Yeah, unfortunately, from all that, I agree with what Bushnut says here. The war will come to North America before long. I used to think that that's not going to happen, and I don't know what would actually cause that to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if that does happen.
Yeah,
Um, because you look around the world and you see where there's lots of clashes with different cultures within society and stuff. That's where you start seeing civil wars pop up and genocides, and because people start one side starts saying, well, it's the other's fault, it's their fault, it's that group's fault, um, because there's not that. Like you said, it's not really about race, like I was talking about last week. It's more about people not integrating into that common culture, that common um, system of values. That's
absolutely.
really what it's about. Not even about the color of people's skin, or anything. It's about not integrating into the culture and into those that value system.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Like, anybody from anywhere around the world, of pretty much any, most any religion, or any race, any background, could come to America and agree on the principles that we're founded on. I don't see how anybody could really, I mean, I could see how people could not agree with it, but I think most people in the world agree with the principles that America was founded upon, regardless of religion or culture or whatever. I don't see why. people from around the world couldn't integrate, but some people just refuse to. Some
Yeah.
people are like, hey, I'm going to bring my culture from where I came from, and that's how it should be here in America. Well, yeah, well that don't work. you know,
Yeah.
if you
Well,
if you
and
that, then you should have just stayed where you were if you were so happy with it.
exactly, exactly. Why did you want to come here in the first place?
Right.
And then but then also, I did a little research on the Quran. I don't know if you have, but there's parts of that when it talks about taking over a nation, and some of that's just moving in, integrating into the society, having a bunch of kids, and making the nation change to you. And that's what we see in America, sadly. And it's with not just with, say, one religious groups. We try to please every different religious group that's here.
Right.
And that's why we get into, I feel, so many conflicts amongst ourselves, is that we have lost what was our founding identity, and we're trying to be people pleasers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, like a good example is like, let's say my neighbor's gay. Like, okay, you want to be gay? Cool. Do your own thing. You can be my neighbor. We're cool as long as we don't hurt each other and stuff. But don't tell me that all my family has to be gay too to please you. It's the
Yeah,
same kind of thing. Hey, you want to be American? Cool. You have your freedom of religion, your freedom, to do all these things, but you have to follow the rules, and integrate into society.
yeah, yeah. And don't expect us to change our constitution, our rights, our freedoms that you desired in the first place. That's why you came here. But don't
Right.
expect us to change them to be more like the country you just came from.
Right. Right.
What kind of sense does that make?
Yeah,
But
like who?
for some reason, our politicians do it.
Yeah, who is it? Oh dang it! Is she a congresswoman, senator? She's Somali. You know who I'm talking about?
Not a clue.
Uh, she was talking some one day about, well, the way it was in Somalia where I came from, and that's how we should do it here. Blah 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 blah. I'm thinking like, how did you even become a like how did
Yeah.
you even get elected?
Why don't you run for president or something over in Somalia and see what happens?
Yeah, yeah. Why are you
Probably
not
because you're female, you're not going to be able to rule anything in those types of countries.
right? Just like, yeah, like why are you not living in Mogadishu right now? Why are you in DC?
Yeah, yeah, and enjoying the American life, talking about how good it was in your country.
Yeah. Bushnut Sykes. I think you meant Sikhs. Uh, Sikhs are fighting Hindus. Is that happening again? I haven't seen anything about that. Have you seen anything about that, Scott?
I have not.
I didn't know that they were doing that again. The last thing I knew about Sikhs and Hindus fighting was like, when Pakistan was founded and everything. But enlighten me. I'm going to have to look that up because
Yeah,
that's
worth knowing about. I mean, it's like, again, like,
well,
seems like this whole conversation we could have flipped through the Bible and talked about all this. There's going to be wars, rumors of wars. It's all stuff talked about prior to
yeah,
us ever being here.
yeah, absolutely. I've watched some stuff on that whole deal in India, the Sikhs and the Hindus and the Muslims all fighting in India, back then, and then, splitting India up. Like, and that crap got super bloody and violent. Like,
Yeah,
I don't understand either because, I mean, it's always happened from, for all of history, but it's like, why do we have to fight and kill each other over, different beliefs?
yeah,
It's wild.
yeah. I agree. It's not, you can't necessarily voice your opinions, your differences, your beliefs, and then just agree to disagree and walk away. Now it's I'm gonna blow you up as soon as you turn around. Or even nowadays in America, young people are just pulling out a pistol instead of fighting. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Terry, Ilan Omar. Yes, that is correct. That is who that was. Ilan Omar. Ron Striker, exactly. I have a copy of the Quran. There's all kind of orders to infiltrate infidel nations and then off the non-believers when there's enough of believers to fill the ranks. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've
I,
seen similar things. I have a Quran. I've actually read the entire Quran years ago.
I have not. I got one, and I could not bring myself to read it. And and then I didn't like really having it in my house, so I got rid of it. But I did have to study it some though, but I didn't have the physical book. But I went to Liberty University, and so I'd studied different world religions there.
Yeah, I've been looking into that. You can do that stuff online, right?
Yeah, I
Through the
did the whole thing online. Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
had
and GI Bill.
yeah, I had looked into that a while back, and I was talking back and forth with them for a while. I don't even remember why I ended up not going, but I need to go back. I need to go back and do that.
Yeah,
Studying world religions, that's been something I've always, from the time I was little, and I've talked about that on here. It's like my grandpa had, I had like, when my grandpa died, he had me a subscription to National Geographic, and I had like
hmm
750 National Geographic. So I was always super interested in other cultures and other religions and all that kind of stuff. I was watching Indiana Jones when I was growing up. It's like I just want to learn about everybody and everything all around the world. So,
yeah. The whole thing of the adventurer, the explorer. Seeing
yeah,
new things that you would never see sitting on your couch.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
um,
which I'm
so
sure that probably contributes to why some of us join the military. Go
yeah,
see new things and do new things.
absolutely. Yeah, I was talking to my wife about that the other day. I said if I could think of two or three, if I could think of a handful of movies that probably influenced me when I was younger to be who I am today, it'd probably be Indiana Jones.
Yeah, yeah.
It would be Last of the Mohicans
Oh, that's a great one
and
too.
possibly Saving Private Ryan.
No, that's a great one also.
Yeah, like that's three really good movies.
Yeah, all the Indiana Jones was awesome when I was younger.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
was thinking of another one that Braveheart. That's a classic. Can't go wrong with Braveheart.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
What do you, Quahu, man? You're confusing me, bro, again this week. If people like you led the military, we would be the good guys. Okay, okay, I feel you. I just had to read that again. The way I read it was retarded.
uh, uh, yeah,
300, yeah, but I mean that wasn't while I was growing up.
yeah.
I was
And
in the
actually,
Marine.
never seen it. It looked a little too animated for me, and I don't know.
Yeah,
Just the cover.
I remember. I remember that came out. I was in Third Battalion, 8th Marines at that time, and our battalion commander, our mascot or whatever was a Spartan, so he made us all go watch that movie. Like we had a
Oh yeah,
mandatory like family day thing, and everybody had to go watch that movie.
that's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
It kind of
Yeah.
made me not like the movie, like when you're forced to do
I'm
something you
forced to
don't
watch
like.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
like I hate this movie just because you made me watch it.
Oh yeah, yeah. And another one of my favorites is Patriot, Mel Gibson. I mean, you can't go wrong with that movie. That's
Yeah,
a great
yeah,
one.
yeah, absolutely. Uh,
There's a phrase that I believe it was in that movie that one of the reverends said is there's a time when you have to lead your flock, but there's a time when the shepherd must what was it must fight off the wolves or something like that. Shepherd
yeah,
must leave to fight off the wolves, and I was like, yeah, that's it right there.
right.
You stand or it's one of those sayings that just motivates you, or at least it did me.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's so many quotes in Last of the Mohicans that like really always got me pumped up for some reason too, even like little tiny things in that movie.
Yeah, well, it's a great movie.
Yeah, it was. Some people argue about the historical accuracy of it. Whatever, I don't care. It was entertaining and I liked it.
It's a good movie. Yeah.
It was a good movie.
What's Hollywood
Literally.
based on?
Right. So would you think could you see, I don't know, you probably need to go here soon, don't you?
No, I mean I got some time.
Okay. You just tell me to shut up when you need to go. I cued
All
the
right.
music there because I thought you maybe need to go soon. Either way, I hope it's
I
not
know I
too.
started jamming.
Yeah, I know. Um, do you agree with, I think, what the rest of us in the Minuteman type of, in this underground community we've accidentally created here, this monster we've created. Do you agree with the rest of us that Civil War is likely inevitable at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's something that's been ongoing for years, and it's just getting worse every year that comes along. It's you can't go to the store without people fighting amongst themselves in a grocery store. It's one of those things that there's just so much tension and anger with everybody within our culture. So I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
It's just tense everywhere. And there's so many different little things that are going on in a variety of different communities, whether that be different political parties or even with the whole issue of the people that are whole ignorant on the whole racist type thing and the racism and it's just so much going on at once that it's just kind of like that pot ready to boil over.
Right. Yeah, and something I've talked about before too is I think about these things a lot, trying to think of how I would respond and everything. It's like me and Black Dissident were talking about last week. And I think, like, sometimes I think, like, if there was a civil war, I can't think of a side that I would choose right now. Because I could see everybody just kind of it being like chaos, you know what I mean? Because there's with no definite sides or lines or because everybody's so divided. Even people on the right are divided into little subgroups. People on the left everybody's just so divided into so many different factions. I can't even wrap my head around how something like that would even play out.
Yeah, and it goes right back to what we was talking about earlier. Is like as Americans, we've kind of lost our identity. We're just we don't even know what we are. That's why there's so many different groups and names and titles to left and right and this, that, and the other. Nobody really knows who they are anymore. So let's just create our own thing.
Right. Yeah. If it was like a dividing line where clear cut, which it never is.
Of
like
course.
This side is okay. We're strictly about liberty, freedom, preserving the country as it was intended to be. Okay, you've got my arms. You've got my my support. But I don't see anybody being. Like, I don't see anybody I trust that much.
Yeah, and like I had alluded to earlier, I've got to where I feel all politicians are just puppets. They're just saying what somebody behind them wants them to say. It doesn't even feel like there's a right or a wrong side or a defined. We could say there's a defined left and a defined right, but those areas are getting so muddy that it's just whoever's got the most money. That's the person that makes it happen. I mean, it's just there's no identity anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see.
Seems like I gotta just stay focused on taking care of my family, protecting my family. Crap goes downhill, be ready to defend them at all costs.
Yeah, absolutely. I could really see it end up being like conflicts we've seen in the past. It's like in Iraq, for example. It's like people don't realize there was not just like one faction that we were fighting. It's like dozens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You might like there you might have Al Qaeda, you have ISIS, you have regular dudes that just don't want you on their street. You have at the beginning had the Iraqi military itself, and then that changed where they're on our side, and all this flipping back and forth and different factions fighting each other and fighting you and fighting them, and what I mean?
Yeah, it's just chaos.
Cluster.
Kind of like I'm sure you experienced some of this too, but like even over in Iraq, right? So like you would have the local we'll say the local terrorist leader would be suppressing the villages for protection and money, no different than say like a mafia type deal. But then they'd also be setting up and attacking us and occasionally attacking their own people because they don't really have the intel or know what in the world's going on. So it's just consistent chaos with a lack of organization.
Right. Yeah.
They may have a title that they may call themselves ISIS or whatever. It varies, and they're all the same group and organization, but it's all just unorganized chaos.
Yeah, absolutely. The only conclusion I come to, on how that would go out for like faction wise, is like for myself anyway, is like I know it sounds crazy, even like wargaming this stuff in your head, but especially if somebody's just tuning into my channel for the first time. But
Hmm.
um, I could see myself not even taking a side, but having a bunch of dudes from my area to just defend my county or my
Yeah,
town, my city or whatever
yeah,
from everybody else. Like,
exactly.
hey, we want to stay out of this. Everybody stay away. No fighting here. You come here and we'll crush you.
Yeah,
I don't
that
care
would
what
probably
side
be the
you're on. I
side
want
that
to
I would
destroy
want to be in.
you. Yeah,
Exactly, exactly.
absolutely.
Just you two fight it out and eradicate each other.
Yeah,
We're gonna block off my subdivision, and we're just gonna take care of ourselves back here.
yeah, yeah. We're just gonna leave things normal here.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So it's there's just so much tension going on in our culture right now for everything, and then coming off of the whole pandemic, people being locked up and stressed out anyway, and that kind of stuff has a toll on people mentally, and it's coming out in some of this chaos that we see, I think, within our culture as well. It's not the best of times in America.
Yeah, I've noticed myself a lot. I have like a lot of books on Ahmad Shah Massoud and the Northern Alliance, the Mujahideen in Afghanistan, and I find myself a lot here lately studying their tactics and studying how they were able to defend the Panjshir Valley from the Russians and all that. And I was thinking about that the other day. It's like, man, I'm studying this stuff like hardcore. It's like because I really think, unfortunately, it's going to be needed.
Yeah,
And that's a scary thought.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like you know, uh, the idea or concept comes into my head almost the whole Walking Dead. I don't know if you've seen that series, but I'm just gonna block off my whole town and keep everybody else out. I'm gonna go out
Yeah,
on raids, get my food, get my ammo, get what I need for my people, and then just leave me alone.
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it seems like that's what we're coming to at
Yeah,
some point in time.
absolutely. Hey, I like this. Neighbors is going to be key. I think it's going to be an economical reason more than anything to start it rich versus poor. I don't know if it'd be economical reason, but the first part, I 100% agree with. Neighbors are key. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you got to build a community within your area. Get to know your people that are around you and their skills, ability, and take advantage of each other's resources and be there for each other. Real neighbors. People
Yeah,
don't do that
absolutely.
anymore.
Right.
You know, and
Absolutely.
and like obviously you should train and have skills and be able to defend yourself and your family. Everybody should be able to do that. That I feel should be a decent priority for every citizen. And preparing and having stuff stored up is always a great idea for an emergency. But having the actual skills to do things, the actual self-reliant type skills. If you look at the foundation of our country, when people came over here, they only had what was on that boat, and everything else they either had to make or they had to learn from the Native Americans. Whereas we almost starved to death that first year. It was saved by the Native Americans that we celebrate with Thanksgiving. It was if you don't have the skills, you're gonna die. And so
Right.
learning those skills, the skills of our land, knowledge of trees, plants, how to hunt, how to fish, how to trap, tanning hides, and making resources off of the landscape. These are skills that we have gotten so far from as a culture, because you can just go watch somebody else do it, and you never really have to.
Hmm.
You see it on TV for entertainment, and then you never actually do it for yourself.
Right.
And then we got the internet, who has books anymore. So I personally, I like collecting mountain man trapping survival manuals and guides, wild edible plants and herbs, organic gardening, different books like that. Whether I actually do it at this moment or not, I like having those resources in the event that we no longer have the capability of Google search, or
Right.
whatever. Having
Right.
that paper book to learn from.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, over in the corner of my room I'm in right now, this is sort of my prepper room. I have a bookshelf that is just nothing but books that I would information that I would need if the grid were down and it wasn't coming back up. Like from tactical manuals to wilderness survival stuff to this big old series on, like, I think it was like from the 1920s on how to construction with hand tools and things
Yeah.
like that. It's like everything. If I see a book that I think, hey, this information would be really important, especially if the grid were down,
Yeah.
then I'll grab it and I'll stick it on this bookshelf and keep it down here with the rest of my stuff.
Yeah, like I said, I got a good library as well. Now, have I read all of them? No, but
Yeah.
if I ever need to, I can grab the book. I got it. I don't have to go search. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's good. And then when you got downtime, read your book. So
Yeah.
it's. I'll tell you a good series is the old Foxfires. I've
Yeah,
got 4 of
absolutely.
them, but I would highly recommend that series to anybody.
Yeah, I'm missing a few. I've been still trying to get the rest of them. I'm trying to find them that aren't expensive.
Yeah, right.
Some
Goodwill.
people want a lot for them.
Oh yeah. Watch your thrift stores.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I got them off of eBay because I'd actually never saw them anywhere out, like physically anywhere before.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got one at a Goodwill, and then I was talking to my uncle one day, and he had a box set of the first 4, and he just gave it to me.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Those books are entertaining too. Like, people don't know, it's not just instructional stuff. It's like some of these old people like telling stories, and things that's really interesting.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And they have a full Foxfire like museum that you can go to.
Yeah, I've seen that, but I've never actually looked into it or anything.
Yeah, kind of like seeing old Eustace over there in um, over in Turtle Island.
Yeah,
I think in April he does a big spring family day or something.
yeah,
Which I think is like one of the best days to go because you get to kind of experience everything.
yeah. I usually try to jump on when he's live on YouTube and talking about all that stuff, and I'm on their Facebook page too. They post all that stuff, but
Yeah, that's cool.
John Locke, Josh, check out Doc Larson. Yeah, he does have good books and good content on guerrilla warfare and all those kind of things. Like Scott, I don't know if you're familiar with his channel, Dr. Christopher Larson.
No.
Man, he's legit. I don't know. I think he was not an officer. I think he was a staff NCO, I believe, in the Army. But he has some really good content on. He's a really awesome like tactician and stuff.
Okay. Yeah,
really
good.
Really super interesting stuff.
Yeah, I'll check it out for sure.
Bushnut, hell yeah. Everybody pops in here and agrees that Doc Larson, good stuff.
Yeah.
Noy, what's up? Here's another one of my, I believe he's one of the moderators too. One of my most loyal followers.
Oh, that's cool.
According to him, the CIA buys his books. Yeah. I didn't know
cool.
that. I hadn't seen him say that, but I wouldn't doubt it. They're legit.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
More resources you have a paper copy.
Yeah.
Better. Yeah. So that's
Alaska. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just know that like my channel, like I said, I always was focused on woodsman skills. If you look at early pioneers, early settlers, it was those pioneering and woodsman type skills that really made them survive. So I think when you look at who we are in modern society with all of our technology and all of our informational age, but we really lack the knowledge of how to really live off the land like our forefathers did in the pioneers. So I think more of those skills that we can learn and really hone in on, the better. That's kind of what got me into, trapping or blacksmithing or, whatever it may be, plant identification, tree identification. I just want to know or learn as much as I can. I think it was Morris Kahansky said, the more you know, the less you carry, something along those lines. And so it's like, it's one of those things that having that knowledge or skill, look at the Native Americans. You didn't see them running around with RVs full of junk. They're on horseback.
Yeah.
So it's the more skills that you have, the better.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like me. I kind of catch a lot of flack, and I mention this a lot for being really minimalist with my gear. Not only my outdoor gear, like for camping and stuff. All my friends are like, "Dude, is that all you're bringing?" Like, yes, that's all I'm bringing. Like I have like my haversack and a knife, and that's it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like a bed roll, like a blanket rolled up on my back. And then the
yeah,
same thing with like my tactical gear. It's like it's really minimalist, just the bare bones of what I know I need. And usually I don't recommend other people to carry things the way that I do because most other people haven't had the same experience. You know what I mean? Of
exactly.
really doing without and really
Yeah,
roughing it.
yeah, exactly. If you need 60 pounds of gear, carry your 60 pounds of gear. But I'm gonna
Right.
try to get down to where I don't need nothing but a knife.
Yeah.
Or
Exactly.
maybe a pistol or rifle or something for self-defense. But
Right.
I'm
But I guess.
obviously very thankful that we have things like technology to be able to have this conversation with you and share it with all the people that we are.
Yeah.
But we can't forget those traditional skills that really helped us become who we are as a people today.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing too. Like I've said before, it's like when I do talk about tactical things, like I want to make sure that people always understand. Like that's with all that other stuff understood. Like you should have like all those other skills and stuff in order before you're worrying about going out on a raid or like anything like that. You should know how to start a fire and how to cook your meal and how to skin the game and how to do all that first because
Absolutely.
that's your everyday living stuff. That's way
Yeah.
more important.
I mean, that's what were the mountain men doing? They were out there trapping, getting hides, getting food, but then they was constantly in conflict with the Native Americans because they were in their territory. So it
Right.
was like that same kind of concept is just you got to be able to take care of yourself, but
Yeah.
also be prepared to defend yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you kind of need both. I think you had said a comment you had not too long ago about was it farmer or soldier? And I think
Yeah.
you said something both.
Yeah.
Exactly. You gotta have those self-reliant skills to take care of your family, especially in an emergency scenario. But then also, survival skills to take care of yourself, and then your defense skills to protect yourself and even your community if you had to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I believe that's when I was on there with Jay from Modern Minuteman. I believe
Mm-hmm.
was
Yeah.
somebody that. Yeah, yeah. I think me and him both agreed on that. I think most of us in this community would agree on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. A warrior in a garden.
Yep. Exactly. I mean, again, that reminds me again of the movie Patriot. I'll probably have to watch that here soon because that's exactly what it was. The guy was a combat veteran and then just going on about his family and had to go back to combat.
Yeah, absolutely.
He didn't want to, but he had to open that box.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like I got my plate carrier and everything. Well, if everybody can see all my gear, gas mask, and everything's hanging up in the corner right here. And I hope I never have to, grab it in anger.
Exactly, exactly. I hope I'm never running through the house looking for it to throw it on, because then it's bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Bad enough to go to Walmart and get groceries these days, let alone having to walk around in a plate carrier.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, by the way,
Yep.
everybody, pray for my son because when I get off of here, he's getting whooping because he's been running around here trying to get in the camera and knocking stuff over. And
Let's see what's going on too, Dad.
yeah, after I've done warned him about 5 times in the past hour.
Yeah, yeah. I only got a 16-year-old left in the house. They've all grown up and moved out.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Mine's still 4 and 7, so they're still a little trouble.
You got a ways to go.
Yeah.
That's cool. You got a lot
Rating
of time though with them.
do what?
You got a lot of time left with them. That's good.
Yeah, that's right. Lisa, rating will get you shot. Yeah, that's right. I would never encourage anybody to get out there and raid after SHTF.
Yeah.
Unless you're raiding the Leroy Jenkins game. You're raiding the bad guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's different. But
Yeah.
yeah, man. Well, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and hop off and get him back to bed. And I appreciate you joining me tonight.
Yeah. It was nice hanging out with you. enjoyed the conversation. Definitely like to do it again. I know not everybody may agree with every one of my views on things or opinions, but that's one of the things that makes us stronger, having a different opinion and being able to leave at the end of the day still friends.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll throw this out there, Fatty. Yes, thank you, Fatty. He just said, speaking of raids, Josh wins the next video. You were correct, Fatty. I have to see. The thing is, I think I had 2 more videos left in the raid series, and I recorded them, and then I found out they had no audio the whole time I was recording, so I have to redo them. That's why they
That's
haven't came
awful.
out yet. So we'll be finishing up the raid series soon. Thank you, Fatty, for reminding me of that.
Awesome. I'm gonna go
But
check his channel out.
Yeah, you'll like Fatty. He's funny, and I'm gonna throw this out there, man. My Appalachian series, where we started out with the 24-hour patrol with Modern Minutemen's challenge. Episode 2 is coming out, and it's Fatty is a character in that in the next episode. So everybody stay tuned for Appalachian episode 2.
That's cool.
But everybody,
Sounds good, man.
yeah. Everybody, make sure to head out and or head over and subscribe to Scott over at Wandering the Wilderness. He's been a homie from the get-go.
Yes, sir. And if you're watching from my channel, go over there to Modern Frontiersman, show him some love, learn some skills, and just be prepared to defend yourself and your family.
Absolutely. But everybody, I hope y'all enjoyed hanging out with us as much as I enjoyed y'all hanging out with us. As always, you know what to do. Stay self-reliant.